All right, hello everyone. Hope you're doing well. I'm just gonna keep this one pretty brief. So Susan, I'm not gonna pretend to pronounce her last name. But Susan was a very interesting type. Um, I'm going to briefly go over it, and then kind of discuss that with you. So right now, I forgot to write it in my little sheet here, but Susan is definitely Tine. If I'm not mistaken, she's consume, play, sleep, and then blast last. So, I got no, actually, I didn't get all my guesses wrong. I had some impressions of her that were pretty spot on. I just needed a little bit more proof, but let's just talk through those. So the first thing, I mean, the major thing that I got wrong was the DI versus the DE, and that's kind of what I want to focus on here. So just going to this, how I was talking about last week, DI is seeing things from their own perspective, and DE is seeing things through other people's perspective. I guess I need to adjust that definition a little bit for myself, because Susan definitely talks as though she's seeing things from other people's perspective, right? So she's checking YouTube a lot, like, trying to see what's going on with the drama that people are talking about. She's very engaged in her, hearing other people's points of view within her company. And her talking as well, one thing that she says a lot is, I'm not the only one that made this decision. She would say that a lot, especially in I want to say it's both of these interviews here. There's the confronting the CEO of YouTube with Ludwig, which is pretty funny. I like Ludwig's vibe. And then there's the YouTube Recode interview, which I found personally pretty awkward. It just felt very, felt like a very ST conversation, right? But yeah, so I got that wrong. So what is DE and DI doing then? So DE, let me just go back to the definition here. Excuse the background noise. But let me go back to the definition here. So if DE is defined as inclusive, everybody says, deflects, bows down, and mentions other people's points of view, I guess I need to be a little bit more careful about how I'm typing people then. I definitely did. I don't think I saw any bow down energy from her like I did from Pharrell, for example. I did see her mention a lot of other people's points of view, though. And, I also had my own personal biases about how she looked, and, she looked like a Savior DE person to me, so what is that about? But with DI, you know, I guess what I can say, and there's two things that I guess I can say about her being Savior Ti or Lead Ti. For starters, whenever she was confronted with a question from the audience, or a disagreement, she would take the responsibility of explaining the logic for herself, right? She's like, let me explain to you. She would say this a lot too. Let me explain to you why this is a problem. And she would talk about how it's complicated, right? Things are complicated. It's not as easy as, I can just do what the tribe wants. There are things that are more complicated, and I'm taking responsibility for making that complicate for that complicated stuff. So that's kind of the first thing. And then the second thing, and this is more so in terms of the axis, if you watch the Ludwig interview, at the very beginning, she does something that, in retrospect, is very Fe like, where she brings him a chair with it. I felt like it was an awkward chair, but that's okay. Like, it was a chair of, like, I guess a YouTube studio chair with Ludwig's face all over it, right? And it was a gift from her and her team to Ludwig, right? And so I don't know that many Savior TEs. Like, I mean, maybe. I don't want to go too far with this, but it feels more like a Savior FE thing to do. Just like based on the axis. To come up with a gift that is supposed to create good emotions, good vibes, and just bring it. Not just from her, it's from her and her team. That's just bringing this random guy, you know, just to get the chemicals moving. So that's kind of, you know, how David Shan talk about the Jubilee and stuff like that. So that's kind of something I'm going to be honest. I mean, I'm 50-50 on my Saver DI, Saver DE coin. I'm not really good at guessing that. I need to get better at guessing that. But I guess what I'm learning is my biases are still wrong. Like, I'm still not seeing something about what she's doing, or about what DI is doing. The other thing I wanted to talk about was the savior thinking. I think at first, I think I was actually going to try and type her a savior Effie, because she does talk a lot about values as well, about how what YouTube values, and she's trying to protect certain values. I mean, but you know, there's another savior TI who does that, Elon Musk, where he's talking about where he wants to protect the values of free speech and stuff like that, for example, on Twitter and things like that. So this isn't the first time someone with savior thinking or savior TI has tried to uplift certain values. Another person that comes to my mind is Jordan Peterson, right? You know, so I think the savior thinking, it can be really seen. I'm gonna be honest with you. You can see it in both of these interviews. This interview in particular, though, because it's I don't know how else to word it. I just found it super awkward, like, because the interviewer is just like her, like, attacking her with question after question of, well, you did this and you didn't do that, and what about this, right? And she's very much, I mean, she's doing a great job responding, but her comfort in responding with the logic is something that I admired a lot. But I think it kind of indicated a savior state to me, where she's just way too comfortable talking about the logic, right? Where she's in front of a crowd as well, mind you, right? So it's like, you know, under pressure, she's very comfortable talking about the logic. And then in this one, I didn't watch the whole interview, admittedly, but I think there was a very funny scene. I want to say, I don't know what Ludwig's type is, but he does something that feels savior feeling to me in the interview, where he basically asks her what emotions are being conveyed by certain emojis, and she's having kind of like a hard time. Like, you can see on her face, like, what, like, why am I doing this? Like, why am I talking about emotions right now, you know? And so, you know, that's kind of something with demon feeling as well. It's like we have a very uncomfortable time talking about feelings, or it's just kind of awkward. You know, we're just kind of there to kind of get something done. So anyways, that's going to be about it. I think with the savior play, the last little note, I mean, I don't want to use the stereotype of savior play being busy, because I think about Elon Musk a lot in that context, and Dave, to be honest, where savior sleeps can be extremely busy and extremely productive. So I don't want to just stick to that. But what I will say is, for Ludwig, Susan basically got on his interview by spontaneously responding to a Twitter comment saying, sure, I'd love to be on your interview. Like, she's the CEO of YouTube, right? And like, even Ludwig saying, like, isn't there some sort of buffer between you and the rest of the world? And she's like, no, I just jump in and do things, right? And so that's kind of where you can see the savior play, very willing to engage with other people and to just jump in. So that's kind of a mild guess. I didn't guess that personally, but once I saw the type, I could very easily see that. So that's about it for me. Again, I mean, my guesses at this point are 50-50. I mean, I probably, not probably, I need to put in more time into typing if I want to get better at it. I just haven't, honestly, just put in the time. So that's kind of what's been going on with me. Hope you guys got her type, though. If you have any comments or feedback about what her type is or what you saw, definitely let me know in the comments. I'm looking forward to reading those, and I will see you in the next video that I make. Take care.